Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Miss Tammy, and I am your host today. And this is your teacher, Miss Chelsea. Today we are going to learn about hummingbirds.
Thank you, Miss Tammy. I am so excited to share with you new knowledge about hummingbirds. A hummingbird is a small, nectar-feeding American bird. Let's look at a few vocabulary words that will help our understanding when we begin reading. You'll need a paper and a pencil as we work through our words. Miss Tammy, let's look at our first word on our anchor chart. When we come across words we're unfamiliar with, it's helpful to separate the words into syllables or word parts to ensure we read and pronounce the word accurately.
Okay, can we syllabicate these words together?
Of course! Let's look at our first word and think back to our syllabication steps Miss Amber and I taught you during our advanced phonics lessons. Boys and girls, use your paper and pencil to work through these steps with me. Can you write our first word on your paper?
First, we need to identify the vowels we see, Miss Chelsea.
Right. What vowels do you see, boys and girls? Yes, I see vowels O and E. Do you notice anything about our second vowel?
It is followed by the letter R. When we read, the R is going to control the sound of the vowel E. This is called bossy R. When we label our vowel, we should keep ER together since they make one welded sound of
That's right. So let's label our O and ER together. The bridge is where we're going to find our division pattern. So let's draw a bridge to connect our vowels.
Next, we need to label the consonants on the bridge, Miss Chelsea.
Very good, Miss Tammy. What consonants do you see, boys and girls? That's right. I see consonant V, and we'll label this with a C.
What do we need to do next?
We need to divide the word using the pattern we notice. What vowel pattern or letter pattern do you see on our bridge?
I heard the boys and girls, Miss Chelsea. They see a vowel, consonant, vowel pattern. I know that there are two ways we could possibly divide the word. We have these posters to help us remember.
That's right. If you look at our vowel, consonant, vowel patterns, there are two. And since this is labeled with a 1, we should always attempt this division first. So let's look at our word. We're going to divide between the O and V here. Can you draw that line for me? Good. So now that we've divided our word, we need to label each syllable and blend the word. Boys and girls, can you tell me what type of syllable this is?
Great job. The first syllable, H-O, is open because it ends in a single vowel, and the vowel will make a long sound. Can you all tell Miss Chelsea what the second syllable of our word is?
That's right. The second syllable is R controlled. Like Miss Tammy mentioned earlier, ER together will make one welded sound, Boys and girls, can you help me label this? We're going to put BR for bossy R, and now we're going to attempt to blend. Do it with me. O, ho, ver, hover, hover. Does that sound like a word you're familiar with?
Doesn't sound like a word I've heard before, Miss Chelsea.
Me either. If we don't recognize the word, our pronunciation may be wrong based on where we divided our syllable. So remember, there were two ways that we could have divided our VCV pattern. So boys and girls, what do you think we might need to do to fix our pronunciation?
That's right. Let's try to move our division line after the consonant and see if that helps our pronunciation.
Okay, boys and girls, do this with me on your paper. Let's move our division line after the V before the ER. So what happens to our first syllable when we moved our division line? Exactly. Our first syllable now ends in consonant V. So it's no longer an open syllable. It would be closed because closed syllables end in one or more consonants.
That's right. Let's try to move our division line after the consonant and see if it helps our pronunciation. And we did that.
Okay, let's try to blend together. Remember, this is going to make a short sound. Of, hov, hov, hover.
Boys and girls, will each sound still be the same when we blend the word? That's right. Our vowel sound will now be short instead of long because it is closed in by a consonant.
Very good. So when we just attempted to blend this word, we made this a short O sound. So let's try one more time to put the word together and see if we recognize it. Of, hov, hover.
We're getting close. I can almost recognize that word.
Me too, Miss Tammy. Sometimes in an unstressed syllable, the vowel makes the sound. This is called a schwa. So let's try to read our first vowel, O, with the schwa sound and see if it helps our pronunciation. So instead of a closed syllable, we're going to mark this with an X to remind us that we need to make that schwa sound. So let's blend together. Of, hov, hover.
Oh, I definitely recognize that word. Boys and girls, can you say our new word with me? Hover.
Great reading. The word hover means to float in the air close to something. I want you to do this with me. Let's use this hand gesture to help us remember the meaning of the word hover. Do it with me. One hand is hovering over the other.
I'm going to add that definition to our anchor chart, Miss Chelsea.
Okay, great. Boys and girls, can you think of a sentence using our new word hover? What about you, Miss Tammy? Can you give us an example of this word in context?
I think so. The helicopter hovers over the helipad.
That's a great example. I have a photograph of a helicopter hovering. Let's add this visual to our anchor chart to help us recall the word hover in action.
I love visuals. They help make my learning come alive.
Let's look at our next word. Are you guys ready? All right. Using the syllabication steps that we just practiced, can we break our next word apart? You think you can handle it?
Oh, I know they can help us.
Great. So boys and girls, let's write our next word on your paper. Let's identify the vowels we see in our next word. What vowel or vowels do you see? That's right. I see one vowel O.
Miss Chelsea, we know that every syllable must have a vowel, so this must be a one-syllable word.
Very good. Since we only have one vowel, we will identify the syllable type and blend the word right away. What do you notice, boys and girls, after our vowel? That's right. Our word is followed by two consonants. So we know that this is going to be a closed syllable, and our vowel sound will be short when we read. Can you help me blend this word? M-a-s, moss.
That was great reading, boys and girls. Our word is moss. Can you say the word with me? Moss.
Awesome. Moss is a very small green or yellow plant that grows on moist rocks, tree bark, or wet ground. Let's pretend that our hand is a rock, and let's point to the moss that might be on it.
I've seen moss many times when hiking in the woods with my family. Let's put the definition to the word on the board.
Awesome. That's a great example of you hiking with your family. You can see moss in real life. Boys and girls, can you tell us a time that you might have seen moss? Awesome. Those are all such great examples. Let's add a visual of moss on a large rock to help us remember the meaning. Okay, you think you got that one?
I think so.
All right, let's move to our next word, and let's separate it into syllables. Here we go. Can you write this word on your paper for me? All right.
Boys and girls, is there anything there that you notice about our word?
Yes! Our word ends in BLE. This is a final separate syllable that we usually identify first. Do y'all remember what we call this type of syllable? Yes, we call this consonant plus LE. So let's circle this final separate part and label it C plus LE. We're going to go ahead and draw our division line to help us remember that this is a separate syllable.
Okay, Miss Chelsea, I know what we can do next. We can identify the vowels that we see.
All right, we absolutely can. Boys and girls, what vowels do you see in the rest of our word right here? Good. I see vowels E and I as well. I'll label those with a V. Let's draw a bridge to connect those vowels.
The bridge is where we will find our division pattern once we label the consonants, right?
Yes. I'll label consonant X with a C. Boys and girls, what division pattern do you see on our bridge?
You guys are so smart. I see the vowel consonant vowel pattern too. If we look at our charts where we attempt to divide our word first, let's divide before the consonant and check our pronunciation.
Okay, so we're going to draw a dotted line after the E and before the X in case we have to move it. What do you notice about our first syllable now that I've divided?
Oh, they both end in a single vowel. Boys and girls, what type of syllable pattern ends in a single vowel?
Yep, you're right. An open syllable ends in a single vowel, so we'll label those OP. sound will our vowels make?
Oh, they know, Miss Chelsea. That's right, boys and girls. Both vowels will be long when we blend the word.
All right. So knowing that, let's attempt to blend and read this word together. I'll guide you and you follow my lead. Flea, xi, bull. Fleexible, fleexible.
I've never heard that word before, Miss Chelsea.
Me either. So let's attempt our second VCV division. What happens to the first syllable when I move our division line after the consonant?
Right, boys and girls. The first syllable now ends with a consonant. This means our vowel will now make a short sound because it is a closed syllable.
Great job! So let's try to blend our word again, making a short sound in our first syllable. Here we go. Flex, bull. Flexible.
We're almost there, Miss Chelsea. The second syllable, I just don't think that sounds right. Maybe we need to try our schwa sound in place of the long I.
I think you're right, Miss Tammy. Let's use the unstressed sound for the second syllable. So right here, instead of an open syllable, this will be our schwa sound. We'll make the sound. Let's do it together. I want you to blend each part of the word after me. Flex, flex, bull, flexible.
That's it, Miss Chelsea.
I think so too. Boys and girls, can you repeat the word after me? Flexible. Flexible means bendable. Our joints are flexible. They help us bend. Do this motion with me while you say the word aloud. Flexible. Very good. Let's add our definition to our anchor chart.
Oh, Miss Chelsea, a folder is flexible because it can bend back and forth.
That's right. Can you add the photograph of a flexible folder to help us remember that?
I can.
Awesome work, guys. Let's look at our next word. Can you help me break this word apart?
Boys and girls, write this word on your paper to work with us.
Great. So let's identify the vowels we see in our next word. What vowels do you see? That's right. I see vowels E and A.
Miss Chelsea, I noticed that our second vowel A is immediately followed by the letter R. Isn't this important for us to remember?
Yes. Boys and girls, do you remember what we call this letter combination? That's right. It's an R control. And we will keep the AR together when we label the vowel.
What do we need to do next?
Let's draw a bridge to connect our vowels. What's our next step, boys and girls?
Oh, they've got it. They've got it. We need to label the consonants on the bridge. What consonants do you see, guys?
Okay, I'll label those for us, C and T.
Boys and girls, do you remember our next steps?
Good. Let's divide using the pattern we notice. What pattern do you see on our bridge? That's right. This word has a VCCV pattern. If we look at our division posters, we see that we divide this pattern between the consonants. So let's draw our line between consonants C and T.
Next we need to label each syllable and blend the word. Boys and girls, what do you notice about the first syllable?
Good. Since the E is followed by consonant C, this is a closed syllable. What about our second syllable?
Exactly. Since this syllable contains an R-controlled vowel, we will need to label this syllable BR for bossy R. Looking at our posters, where do you all... Oh,
That's okay, Miss Tammy. She got so excited. Boys and girls, we are going to move on to our next stage. What do you think we need to do next? Yeah, let's blend this word together. Can you help me? All right, here we go. Nectar. Nectar.
That's great blending. I did get excited, Miss Chelsea. Nectar is a sugary fluid secreted by plants. Let's use this hand gesture to help anchor the meaning in our memory. Face your palms open and out, and this will represent a plant or flower. Now squeeze your fists together to represent the nectar or the sugary fluid leaving the flower.
Great job, guys. I'll add that definition to our anchor chart.
Great job. This photograph shows nectar dripping from a plant. Boys and girls, why do you think plants might produce nectar?
Oh, those are some great predictions. I can't wait to read our text and learn more about nectar and its uses. Miss Tammy added that to our anchor chart for a visual reference later so we can check our predictions. Can you guys help me syllabicate the next word? Great. Write this word on your paper.
Boys and girls, what is our first step when we come across a division pattern?
Good. What are they going to do, Miss Tammy?
We need to label vowels A and I first.
Good.
What's next, boys and girls?
Okay, very good. Let's draw a bridge to connect those vowels you just labeled. And now we need to identify the consonants on the bridge. I'm going to label consonant B with a C.
Now, can you help us identify the pattern on the bridge?
You guys got it. I see a VCV pattern. Let's look at our division posters to remind us where to divide our word.
I see the vowel A.
We have two division posters for VCV. Which one do we try first? Good. Let's divide before the consonant and get ready to blend our word. So we've drawn a dotted line between A and B. So before we can keep going, what do you see? Another vowel that we haven't labeled. So before we blend, we need to repeat our syllabication steps and identify our next two vowels. Boys and girls, do you think we can handle it? Good deal. We already labeled vowel I, but what vowel do you see next?
Again, Miss Chelsea, I see the vowel A.
Awesome. I'm going to label that with a V.
Great. We need to label consonant T. And what pattern do you notice on our second bridge?
Awesome. I see a VCV pattern too. Looking at our posters, where should we divide?
Nice work. We'll divide before the consonant T.
Okay, I think we're ready to label the syllables and prepare to read our word.
What do you notice about our first and second syllables?
Awesome. Since they both end in single vowels, we will label them with an OP. What sound will each vowel make when we attempt to blend this word?
That's right. They will both make a long sound.
Now the third syllable ends in a consonant. So what do we know about that? Right, it will make a short sound. So I'm going to label it CL for closed, and that will make a short sound when we blend.
You've got it. We need to label this syllable as closed because it ends with the consonant and the vowel sound will be short.
All right, let's attempt to blend this word. A, b, I, t, at. Hey by tat. Does that sound like a word you recognize?
Boys and girls, I don't think that sounds like any word I know.
Me either. Let's try moving our division lines and see if we can get a better pronunciation. So I'm going to move this division line after my consonant. So now our first syllable ends in a consonant, so instead of open, it will be closed. And when we read this word, this will make a short sound. So let's try again to blend now that we've moved our first line. Ab, hab, I, t, at, tat. Have I tat? Does that sound like a word you recognize?
I think we're getting there, Miss Chelsea.
I think so too. Let's use the schwa sound we've mentioned for our second syllable I. So instead of open, we'll put an X and make the unstressed sound. Here we go. Ab, hab, tat. Habitat. Does that sound familiar?
That does sound like a word I know, Miss Chelsea.
A habitat is a place where plants and animals live and grow. Can you guys think of some examples of different habitats? Let's create a roof over our heads using our hands to help us remember that a habitat refers to a place plants and animals live. Can you say habitat?
Habitat.
Good job. We're going to add this visual of different types of habitats to our anchor chart so we can refer back to it later. Guys, I really appreciate you working hard with us today. We have a few more words that we'll go over next time before we read. But you worked so hard.
Thank you, boys and girls, for your participation and hard work today. We want to thank Core Knowledge Language Arts for sharing the materials during today's lesson. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.